Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns displayed a very concise game plan against the Oklahoma City Thunder with their offense, one that really kept them in position to be successful. Let's dive into the film. All right, three things for me: decisiveness, organization, and their dynamic spacing. Kind of layers of their offensive process. Sometimes we see one or two in tandem with another. Sometimes we see all three. It's been rare that we've seen all three. This was probably the best example of it in this game. That's exactly what we're here to look at. So we get to this first clip in the first half. We're just gonna be paying close attention to what's going on. So Royce O'Neale, in tandem with obviously being guarded by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, meaning that he was setting a lot of the screens. He set 22 screens on the basketball, which is 8 more than his previous season high in this current season against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that speaks to, again, just the concision that they were operating with on offense. Now, I want to mention that part first because in the first half, we didn't see the most connected reps. This screen on the ball from Royce, not the most advantageous angle. As I bring it back, he's a lot more flat to the sideline with his shoulders. That's not going to be one that's going to be inclined to force the switch that you want. Also doesn't create enough contact for Cason Wallace to feel like he has to detach from Devin Booker as Devin comes off of the screen. Now, ultimately, he's able to still kind of hit that little double gap they created and get to a spot that he can create from. Does get fouled there. They end up blowing the whistle. But you want to see some better screens be set from Royce O'Neale, which he certainly will adjust to as we go on with this film session. Get to this next one. Another screen. Guess who's being guarded by who? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander guarding Royce O'Neale. He peels in early in the shot clock, 18 seconds, to get the Suns the matchup that they want. Let the dust kind of settle on that matchup, and then they figure out what they want to do with all of the players around the action afterwards. Ultimately, not too much is going to happen on this one, but what we want to do is pay close attention to what the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing with their defense, essentially covering the blocks and the elbows here as you see the kind of switch take place up top. And then you see Devin just kind of reading and assessing, waiting to see if they're going to tag him, if they send a double team. Looks like they're starting to right here with Cason Wallace. This is not going to be a full-out blitz. It's going to be kind of a soft double. You see Royce O'Neale kind of lifting up to create an outlet for him. But watch what happens underneath right here with Oso Ighodaro. Sprints into the middle. This is essentially the Suns working against a zone outside of the direct matchup on Devin Booker. Job well done from Oso there. Creates an opportunity. This is going to end up being a travel call on Royce O'Neale. I don't think it actually was, but you see the advantage that they're able to create just by simply getting the ball in their best player's hands and allowing for Devin to kind of play advantage basketball for them. Get to this next clip. I like this one a lot because you want to start with who's screening and where they are. So the first screener in this action here, setting a screen for Devin, brings Shai Gilgeous-Alexander directly into action to the extent where the second screen is not even needed. Oso Ighodaro recognizes that they have the Waldo, if you will, that they're hunting out within the Oklahoma City defense. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got the preferred matchup. No need for the second screen. It's going to completely undo everything that they want to do in terms of what they're doing on offense. However, as he comes in to set the screen afterwards, want to pay close attention to why it made sense to him for him to go away and then come back. So I bring it back a little bit more. You'll see what I'm getting at. Ryan Dunn right here gets the switch from the initial matchup that was guarding Devin Booker. Takes Lou Dort because Lou wants to try to hang out in this kind of elbow area of the floor to shrink the floor against Devin. Because he completely removes that, now that Oso comes in and set this screen, what it's doing is just taking one piece of defensive capital from the Oklahoma City Thunder defense in tandem with obviously Ryan Dunn pushing Lou Dort down the floor. All of that is just creating a whole bunch of space for Devin Booker to operate in, and it makes the reads a whole lot more easy for him to kind of read on the fly. You see Lou Dort ultimately detaches from Ryan Dunn, but what that does now is he knows that he has to be engaged because of the blow-by on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Devin Booker. Now it's a 2 versus 1 for the Suns on his backside. And now it's just about reads for Devin Booker. You have to look at what Alex Caruso is doing here. He's got 1 foot in the paint right here. As I zoom in a little bit, that's the telltale sign for Devin Booker. 1 foot in the paint means that the corner skip is there. Royce O'Neale does a great job lifting up from the corner to create the most advantageous passing angle that Alex Caruso can't get a hand on. And now it's about Devin Booker doing his job as a primary playmaker. Can you get the ball to your open matchup on time, and can it be on target so you can create the most out of that advantage? The answer is absolutely yes on all 3 of those fronts. You want to pay close attention to where this ball hits Royce O'Neale in the advantage. That is picture perfect ball placement. That is great accuracy, and the zip on the pass it's like a strong arm quarterback putting the ball on a slant in a window that you have to be to cover two. That's exactly what you want right there. Allows for Royce to get as great a shot quality as you can create. Now, again, true to their nature in the first half, only scored 40 points. That's great shot quality against the Oklahoma City defense. This is going to be a miss, but that's sensational process, and that's a great shot that they're creating for one of their better three-point shooters. All right, and this is where it's going to get fun. So we get to the second half now, and now we're going to be paying close attention to the things that we saw in their process in the first half, how they clean things up, and how they keep themselves in position to be successful. So we start here with this one. Devin Booker's going to be over here in this corner. As I bring it back, look at Lou Dort. This is a I don't want you to even touch the basketball type of defensive disposition here. He's top locking them and literally locking arms with them. They're playing ring around the rosy. Royce O'Neale does a great job with the angle of the screen and the adjustments within that to make sure that he's completely detaching, as you see here, Lou Dort from Devin Booker. And what that does is force an emergency switch for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to now have to guard Devin Booker. That's exactly what the Suns want. Job well done there. And now it's about what the Suns can do to aid Devin Booker after they've got the primary preferred matchup that they want. Pay close attention to all of these players on the perimeter for the Suns now. Get Devin Booker on the catch. You can already see that he's about to start trying to turn this corner. Cason Wallace is going to want to pinch down, but he also has to worry about one of the better catch-and-shoot three-point shooters in the league in Colin Gillespie. Obviously, Dillon Brooks can do damage from deep. Mark Williams not a threat from deep, but he is a threat below the free throw line and around the paint, so that's going to move Chet Holmgren. All of that is going to do the slide cutting dynamic for the Suns. Moving help around as Devin Booker commits to a driving angle allows him to navigate that, get to a spot where he's now at home against the preferred matchup again. And that was about winning your ones. It's all about winning your ones at this point. Make the process be successful by having the ball in your best player's hands. Devin Booker knocks down that midi. And I'll let this one play back through so you can appreciate, again, just the flow and the tempo with which they're operating with as they make the decisions that they make. And Devin ultimately works his magic, getting to his office and being a superstar ball player. All of those kind of layers of their process adding one by one by one, the matchup hunting, the dynamic spacing, the decisiveness with the decisions that he's making leads to them getting what they want. And we get back again to the plot of the film session, the matchup hunting. Pay close attention to, again, the presentation part. So I talked about it a little bit on the last play. You're going to see it again on this one. I like this one because you see Devin Booker kind of say, wait a second, from Royce O'Neale. Royce wants to come in and set the screen right away. There's a little bit too much traffic here. Devin Booker can kind of feel the congestion. So he wants to have Royce wait a second. Job well done from Mark Williams still coming in to actually set his screen. Because it's happening so high up the floor, Lou Dort automatically is going to kind of go under on this. He's not going to really want to kind of navigate over to allow for them to have pressure put on their defense so early. So job well done, forcing that initial under, and then watch Mark Williams just get out of there after that. Job well done from that. But what the next part is important for me is because Lou Dort had to make that decision to go under the initial screen, he's now at angle disadvantage as you see Royce O'Neale flow in to actually set his screen. And what is that doing? Again, giving direct access, forcing the switch from Lou Dort and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, giving Devin Booker the preferred matchup, the Waldo that they're hunting out within their offensive process. And now it's all about Devin Booker being decisive. Does he want to explore this space here? Does he want to kind of take some retreat dribbles and allow for another screen to come in from Mark Williams, this time with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander having to navigate it? It's not going to be the same as having Lou Dort or Cason Wallace or Jalen Williams there navigating that screen. Or like I said, he can just go quick. He's going to end up going with that option to go quick, explore that space, wins on the blow by, and now it's about making decisive decisions as you get downhill into that advantage. He ends up making a good one, ultimately gets fouled. The shot doesn't count. But what you do is you put pressure on their defense. You get their best player in compromise by putting them in a little bit of foul trouble. Job well done in process from the Suns on that one. And this is where it really started to get fun because now we see the Suns, even with Royce O'Neale being on the floor with obviously one of your main primary screeners in Oso Ighodaro, they're in role reversal here. Usually these kind of ram screens are being set for a big to ultimately flow to set the screen. Now you see Oso Ighodaro setting the ram screen to put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander behind as you see Royce O'Neale flowing to set that screen because Shai is not at the level right now, because he's that pre-screen that takes place kind of puts him a little bit behind schedule. It gives Devin Booker just enough real estate to do what he wants to do, which is ultimately have optionality and where he wants to turn the corner. He errs on being patient here just to wait and see exactly what it is that Alex Caruso is going to do here as he kind of hangs out around that nail area of the floor. Devin Booker is patient. Alex Caruso commits to the basketball. That means that a direct line pass is there wide open for Royce O'Neale. So long as Devin gets off of it quick and it's an accurate pass and it's not deflected. Job well done from Devin of just simply engaging him, making the pass to the wide open matchup and allowing for him to play +1 basketball, make the extra decision whether he decides to drive this or make the +1 pass to the corner where Jordan Goodwin is. Also want to make sure we had tip here Oso Ighodaro, helping to kind of remove an extra layer of potential help that the Oklahoma City Thunder could send towards Jordan Goodwin, who's open in the corner right now. Job well done. I take this back just a little bit so you can appreciate everything that's happening in terms of the reads. Gets over to Goody, +1 pass from Royce O'Neale, wide open catch and shoot 3 for Jordan Goodwin. And he was literally money. He was good for them the entire game. Take this one back so you can just appreciate the process again in real time. Get the ram screen for Royce O'Neale from Oso Ighodaro, push Shai just a little bit behind. Devin Booker's patient, sees that Caruso commits to the ball. Royce O'Neale makes a +1 pass. The Suns manipulate the spacing, manipulate the shell around that from the Oklahoma City defense. Elbow action. This time, again, I talked about this on the timeline in yesterday's game for the Suns, but we're going to be looking at Oso Ighodaro's on the floor, but he's not the person that's setting the screens. This part is important in process, again, because if he's not setting that screen, that means that the Suns have to be comfortable working with their smalls, screening for each other. And that's exactly what we see here. Their elbow action with their smalls, screening for each other. Royce O'Neale screening for Devin Booker. Getting to the action that you want now. Primary matchup that they're looking for is to bring Shai Gilgeous-Alexander into action. I want to pay close attention again to the angle of the screen from Royce O'Neale. This is important because a laissez-faire screen is not going to trigger the switch. Lu Dort will gladly fight through that screen if you allow him to. The angle that this screen is set at makes it impossible for him to navigate that. Their touch principle is forced to switch. And now it's Devin Booker having, again, the matchup that they want with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Suns do a great job, again, like I talked about earlier, the layers of their process. They're respacing elements. Guys are getting out of the way and allowing for Devin Booker to have as much space to operate in as he can. Because he's enabled that space to operate in and doesn't have to worry about this help defender here, as you see Jordan Goodwin slide down to the corner, opening up that space. Devin Booker is now playing one-on-one instead of 1-on-1.5 or 1-on-2, and is able to get to a spot where he's great at, gets to that elbow, below the free throw line, and again, that's a picture-perfect frame. Suns fans see that. They know that that's a shot that's probably going in, and that's exactly what happens there. But it's because of the spacing, the organization, and the decisiveness of their offense. Just a couple more clips here left in this film session. You get the early screen set. All right, last one here. We're going to be looking again, just paying close attention to Devin. Gets the primary matchup screen, but again, it's not the best screen that's set. They also don't want to just concede the switch right away. This time, they're being a little bit more nuanced as we get to the fourth quarter. So he gets it back to Royce, and they simply just play boomerang. Gets it right back to Devin, and now it's multiple pick and rolls. They usually do this with their bigs, but they're doing it with the guards because of the matchup that they want. Royce O'Neale comes to set the next screen. He's nailing the screening angle this time, and now it's about, will Oklahoma City get back to what they want to do defensively, or are they going to be kind of having their hand forced in terms of the switch? We see an aggressive switch here from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then we're going to see Devin Booker just do a good job being patient. But because of the spacing from the Suns, everybody's overloaded on this backside here. As you can see, there's no one on it going to Devin Booker's right. He can simply just win, as you see Lu Dort try to send a double, but he's going to end up having to chase because Devin commits getting downhill, end up putting pressure on the rim, gets to the free throw line. It's the decisiveness that you want to see from Devin and the Suns and the organization within their half-court attack. Great in this game. That's largely why they won this game.